Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and today I'm finally going to complete my experiment of reading an entire miniseries to you, along with you, and commenting as I go. Today we're going to finally read the last issue of The Last Ronin, the Ninja Turtle series that recently finished up this year, and it's, as I'm sure you've been following along if you're watching this far, it's the Ninja Turtles' answer to The Dark Knight Returns, so we get our big climax here. And it's an exciting ending. I'm a little mixed on some things about it. I don't think it ends quite as well as it begins, but I like a lot of things about it. It's a very exciting action, if nothing else. And let's go ahead and just dive right in, shall we? Once again, all the same major players. Is Eastman still listed as an artist here and not just layouts? Yeah, he is, but I don't think we get one of his flashbacks here. So maybe we had that even in the first issue and I missed it. One of the things that's been kind of interesting doing it this way is just, fine-tooth combing this, is realizing all the details that I tend to miss on a first read, because I've made some mistakes as we've gone through this. I've read this whole thing, and then I'll read an issue in preparation for this, before I sit down to do it, and I'll still make mistakes. I'll still forget certain things that happen, and there'll be oversights in things, and so I'm going to know this book inside and out after doing this. So at the very least, it's kind of, whether anybody watches this at all, it's been kind of a nice exercise for me just to realize how I read things and how easy it is to miss stuff and what I tend to focus on over other things. I'm such a story and character guy that I tend to latch on to themes and patterns of ideas very quickly, and I'll miss just really basic plot points, and I've always been aware of that about myself, but it's coming even more into focus doing this exercise. So anyway, there's probably a couple of things that we talked about before that I'll have to that I'll have to kind of touch back on, and that I maybe didn't get 100% right before. But let's go ahead and start reading, and I'll stop as I have been and comment on things as they come to me. So now, and last time when we had the timestamp at the top that said now, we also jumped back in time a little bit, so it actually propelled us into the future, but that became the present, if that makes any sense. And this, if memory serves, is going to be completely linear. I say if memory serves because I just read this again last night to do this video, but so, like I said, I keep missing stuff, so maybe there's something I'm not remembering, but I'm pretty sure that this whole thing from now on will be totally chronological. I think I was only in this room once when Father was still alive. Looks exactly the same. Whatever, Don. How much longer are you gonna just sit there, Mikey? And of course, who knows how true that is, because it's just a Donatello that's in Mikey's head. Until I'm done. That's how long. Stop talking. Really nice, detailed, a full page spread, real expressive Michelangelo, and there's something kind of provocative about just all the damage he's taken. Like, he's got all these band-aids all over him, and we know that he's healing easily, so with his mutation, and look how bulky he's gotten now. I doubt that this is an intentional nod, by the way, to the 2014 Ninja Turtles reboot movies, but it is kind of interesting to consider that the Turtles might get that big eventually. They just don't start that way, that as teenagers they're smaller and they keep evolving and keep mutating as they get older. But you have to assume that his wounds are probably a lot worse than they seem, or were when he first got them, if he's just got a bunch of little band-aids all over him. So then we get, our last big two-page spread with all of the turtles in his head. Raph's right, you're wasting time. You're wasting time, Mike. Why haven't you pressed the attack against Hiroto yet? You guys caught him completely off guard. You've got the advantage. Yeah, you'd think after last issue, he would just immediately be storming the tower again. Tell me something I don't know, Leo. Well, I know why you're just sitting in this room. You're the sole survivor, the last of us, the last Ronin, as it were. That's a heavy burden to bear. Painful, too. Seriously? That's why you're having second thoughts? Ha, this is Raphael. I knew you weren't strong enough to handle this. Never were. Way to let us all down, Mike. Go to hell, Raph. I wish I could bring you back just so I could kill you myself. And I know damn well what I gotta do. Finish this. End this insanity. And The Last Ronin Part 5 is called The Last Ronin, appropriately enough. Sometimes for a TV show or something, you'll get the name of a series as the pilot, and here we've reversed that, where The Last Ronin is the last title. After all this time, coming back and finding April alive, Casey Marie and the rebels, seeing how they're fighting against the Foot and that bastard Hiroto, all their sacrifices, this reads a little recappy. I don't know that that's intentional. If I fail now, more of them are gonna die. Maybe all. Nice speech, but I ain't buying it. This is Raphael again. Something ain't right with you. The only thing that isn't right is that empty space between your ears, Raph. Yeah, can it, Raph? You're not helping. So, okay, what's the attack plan, Mike? So, obviously, this is all Michelangelo's internal conflict manifesting as a quarrel between his brothers. I say another full frontal assault, like on Stockman's compound. That worked out pretty good. If it ain't broke, why fix it? Of course, that's what Raphael would do. And we could, I'm not going to do this. I guess we could sit here and try to guess at what part of Michelangelo's psyche each of his brothers represent. Like I've suggested before, he kind of becomes an amalgamation of all of them. And even though each of his brothers, as depending on what continuity you're reading, are very often fully realized characters, they can also kind of read as each of them a different aspect of somebody's personality. You put all the Powerpuff Girls together and you get a character, and sometimes you put all the Ninja Turtles together and you get a character, and we kind of have that in a really intriguing and kind of tragic way with Michelangelo here. I also think that we're using that to contrast him to our villain, which I'll talk about a little bit later, in that Hiroto has no family or doesn't care about his actual family and goes it completely alone. And even though Michelangelo is alone, his family is still there with him. So I guess I already did that, but we'll talk about that some also here in a few pages. If it ain't broke, why fix it? Man, you guys sure like yapping more than you do listening. And I'm getting sick and tired of repeating myself. I want you all to stop talking now. And I had a thought reading this last night that maybe the black bandana, I mean, in the for the sake of us reading it, it serves just to obfuscate who this is, to make us wonder in the first issue which turtle we're dealing with, and character-wise, he's gone through a lot of tragedy. He's lost everybody, so it's not bright and colorful anymore. He's not going to wear the orange now. It's going to be black because that really reflects where he is now. But I also think that it might be in narrative, and this isn't talked about, maybe it's just a tribute to his brothers. He wears the black bandana in the same way that you might wear a black sash or a black piece of cloth wrapped around your arm when somebody passes away. Right, you'd be lost without us. No, I wouldn't. It's worse now than when you were alive, constantly telling me what to do. This kind of gets to Michelangelo feeling like the runt of the family originally. And what do I have to show for all your orders and knowledge? This is all that's left. I really love that because in the early issues of Mirage, the turtles each kind of sounded the same. They did read as kind of one character, and as it went along, they were more fleshed out. But initially, the only thing that you really had to the only way you could really tell each of them apart, was by their weapons. That was kind of their prevailing thing. And so I really like the way that that's being used here. That's low, Mike. We all did our part. Yeah. And to us, it was everything. Stinkin' ungrateful jerk, says Raphael. I know what you did. I live with it every damn day, and I've had enough. Leave me. Leave now and never come back. Finally, he says in internal monologue. And then he writes something in the notebook. And it's kind of weird. I guess I'm not... He's writing it in the middle, which means this can't be the place where he writes what we're going to... The big reveal that we'll see at the end. So I'm not totally sure what he's writing in that notebook right now. Too many innocents are getting hurt, he says. Oh, I'm sorry. This is transitioning into the next scene, so he's actually not talking right now. But let me go back to this for just a second. So... Michelangelo has now kind of excised his brothers from his mind. He really wants to totally go it alone. He's kind of back to square one in a way, to where he was at the beginning of the first issue, where I don't... It's hard to say if he still has exactly the same death wish that he did before, but he's right back to where he was there, where he's going to storm the tower. He feels like this is a thing that he has to do without anybody else's voices in his head, and I think he is taking out his guilt. This book talks a lot about survivor's guilt. I think, and that phrase itself is brought up by April. I think that he is kind of taking out his remorse, his guilt on his brothers, where he feels bad for their death, and he's maybe almost blaming them for it, or at least like all of his irritation and frustration from his upbringing and all the things that he's complaining about here, where they tell him what to do and everything, is coming back, is just some way for him to lash out, because it's not really them he's angry with, it's himself. And they, again, are all aspects of his personality. He's not really lashing out at his brothers. He's really just lashing out at himself, I think. And that might just be my read, but this book ends where we'll see them again, but in a different way, and that's part of what suggests that idea to me, is the kind of resolution we get with where he is with his brothers and how he feels about them at the end, even though they're all deceased. With the Sinjas offline, there's freaking looters everywhere. This is Casey Marie. Not exactly the rebellion we were hoping for, huh? There's just not enough of us. We're trying to establish a rough network with the Resistance community leaders on the old landlines. If we can get them to take control of their sections, we'll have a series of safe zones to fight back from. Hopefully, before it's too late. Yo, forget the stupid rebellion. Let's burn this mother to the ground. Damn it. Mob mentality is like a stinking virus. That's the thing I might have liked to have seen explored a little bit more, is mob mentality. Okay, just get back to working on the comms and we'll plan from there. Hiroto's still got the high ground. He's got the high ground! And if he gets Stockman's power back online, we're toast. Casey, we just got word, so that gives us kind of a sense of urgency. Casey, we just got word the power outage is causing flooding in the sewers. Oh no, the lair. And at first I was like, I'm not totally sure why that would make the sewers flood, and it seemed a little bit contrived for a second. That we're just trying to manufacture another danger, and then April explains why that happens, and then I realized that I just don't know anything about how sewers work. So that ends up making quite a bit of sense. And now our villain is throwing yet another tantrum because, again, he's like Kylo Ren. What do you mean you still can't reach Stockman? Wah. He looks like that villain from that stupid kid. Actually, he has a lot in common with this character now that I'm thinking about it, from John Wick, where he just wants his bottle. The entire city will be trying to claw their way in here any minute. This displeases me greatly. What an understatement. Master, silence! Quit gawking like fools and get my systems back online now, and bring me my armor. I'm going to hunt and kill a mutant. So finally, he's going to take things into his own hands and actually do his own dirty work, but not in a way where I can remotely admire him or have any respect for him, because he's waited all the way until there is no other option whatsoever. All of his robot minions are offline, and he's lost his power, and there's really nothing he can do now but put on the suit that's going to make him insanely powerful, and he also, of course, has to have a suit that is I was gonna say like augments his ability, but it's more than that. We'll find out. It's not really like a Shredder suit where it just gives you some claws and stuff. It basically gives him like straight up superpowers, and so he's still not really doing anything of his own accord, I guess is the point I'm making. Mom, this is so not good. Never seen the water this deep down here. Mom, Sensei, where are you guys? So I like the way that both of these subplots are with these arenas are kind of establishing, setting the scene for our big epic conclusion. We're going to have a big scene in the sewer, and we're going to have a big fight scene in the tower. Wait a sec, Splinter's journal. Sensei wouldn't just leave it lying around like this. What the hell's going on? Casey? Mom? The Splinter's journal thing is maybe a little bit of a typical artifact or MacGuffin thing. Down here, the power system failures knocked out the water pumps. There you go, that makes sense. Good thing you're wearing a raincoat. These are history. I've neglected them for too long. They're rusted shut. Help me up, kiddo. Where's Sensei? Mikey's not here, Casey. He left. I'm sorry. And you just let him go? This is an exchange I'm not super impressed with, and we'll get into why here in a second. What? Hey, no, he didn't even say goodbye to me. I went to ask him to help with the pumps, and he was already gone. Damn it! She's like Raphael. She says that a lot. Casey Marine Jones, stop it. You'll hurt herself. You'll hurt yourself. You'll hurt herself. So let me pause for a second here, too, and say, I didn't realize until this read, with this panel, that I guess last issue, the big tell that Casey Marie has super strength is supposed to be when she punches a wall. And I wish that panel looked a little bit more like this, because I didn't realize she caused any damage to that wall when Michelangelo was like, hey, that wall didn't do anything to you. It's not paced right. It's not drawn right. Like, it's not, if this were a movie, it's not shot correctly, where more emphasis should have been on, look at the damage she just caused. She's like an augment. She's got super strength. And then here, it's dynamic, and you've got, like, all this debris flying everywhere, and pieces of it coming, like at the camera, if you like, and you can tell, oh, she's got super strength. Like, if that was the panel, I would be suspicious of her, like I'm supposed to, apparently. But it's not until Michelangelo goes to April and says, hey, Casey Marie seems to be a mutant. What's that about? Why didn't you tell me? It's not until that I even realized it. I think I was supposed to. Will I? Will I really, Mom? I know I'm different. I've known for a long time. Just like them. Mutant! I like the font there, the different sizes of letters. Casey, yes, it's true. Your dad's and my long-term exposure to mutagen. I think it infected us. Then when I was pregnant with you, your DNA was changed, mutated. When were you gonna tell me? Years ago? Never? I don't know. I just didn't want to face it. Then Mikey suddenly showed up again, and now he's out there fighting for us. Us? Look, long before I met the Turtles, long before you were born, this war was happening. Vicious cycle. And they trained their entire lives to end it. It's their family's destiny, Casey, and Mikey needs to finish it his way. The hell with that! You said it, Mom. They're a part of us, in our blood, like family. My family. I'm in this fight to the end. So, the more I've looked at this and the more we've been reading it together, I really don't like this whole thing. And we talked about this yesterday, but the logistics of it are weird. It seems like a really awkward idea. It seems like kind of a forced concept that the mutagen would not mutate the people that are, around, or I should say the radiation, the people that are around the turtles, but that it would just affect their children. That's the first thing. That's weird. And it also just seems, I alluded to this yesterday, it seems overkill to me, that everything's got to be literal. She's got to be almost blood related to the turtles. And that seems to be partly to set up the ending, which I don't want to spoil yet if you haven't read this, but I think there's a big reason at the end that we're doing that, and I don't think it's necessary. I think it's enough that she's April and Casey's kid, and April and Casey see themselves as a family with the turtles, and her upbringing has so much to do with that. Give me just a second. Pardon me. And so I'm not a big fan of this exchange here. A few borrowed and well-placed thermite grenades. What? And I've got the diversion I need to quickly access the upper levels again. With the Sninjas out of commission, should just be foot regulators standing in my way now. Time to find out how well trained they... Holy hell, secondary explosions. My small diversion just shook the whole damn building. Of course, we're back to Michelangelo again. So much for surprises. Hiroto knows I'm here now, so that we can finally get this big climactic battle going. The denouement, as it were. So, the mutant dares another direct assault. The fool. Fight or flight time, Hiroto. Please let it be fight. Yeah, because he's such a coward. It's time for him to finally do something. I was right. No mindless robot assassins this time. No flying mousers. Wow, this is all pretty gruesome. Just foot grunts with a few elite mixed in. Humans with human reactions. A fair fight. Well, almost. With the synthetic hybrids handling all the enforcement for the last few decades, these human soldiers have become soft. That's a good detail. That rings true. That makes sense. They've lost their fighting edge along with their loyalty. I can see it in their eyes. Their masters not worth dying for. Now, at the risk of making this thing longer, I might have liked a little bit of compare-contrast between how the foot soldiers, how the foot at large looks at Shredder and Karai, and how they look at him. Because we're told that the Orokus have always been honorable. We're told that. I don't know how that works. I need to know in this version of things, because, as I've said 100 times now, it's ambiguous about the continuity that we're in. What was Shredder like exactly? Because I think the same case could sometimes be made for him. Like, why are people, why are his minions so loyal to him and willing to die for his cause? Versus this guy. I mean, they're both real totalitarian and such. On second thought, and I'm not saying that I've ever read a Shredder that is as uninteresting as this guy. like, he's fueled by vengeance for things that have happened in his past, and he's got, you know, a power lust and all of that, and this kid is just, and this kid kind of has that too, but he's just entitled, where, like, Shredder is worked for what he got, arguably, to some degree. And this kid is just entitled, and that might be a little bit of social commentary about bad parenting and the way kids are raised now, maybe. But I'm not sure about his being honorable. On second thought, this one looks pretty loyal, big as hell, too. And he's the only thing blocking my way to the top floor. Let's see what he's got. Flashbangs. Hard to strike back when you're deaf and blind. Concussion blast to open the door. So I'm going to be reading through just a lot of action here, so make sure you're looking at each of the panels. The perfect battering ram. Because it stays real exciting and engaging. Grah! Whoa, big guy's fast and way too dangerous at this distance. Time to get up close and personal. Time to end this. Time for the real fight. Again, Waltz always does a real good job of giving you kind of blow by blow what the thought process is, and it doesn't read too much, I don't think, like Silver Age comics, where we've got to describe everything that's happening, even though you can see it happening, just to kind of overcompensate in case you're not appreciating what's happening in the panels. It's a lot more about, so it's not blow by blow explaining what we're looking at. It's blow by blow telling us what the motive and thought process is of the character, like what his battle strategy is. And I think Waltz gets wrapped up in that sometimes too much, but I also think he's really good at it. Oroko Hiroto, I'm here. What are you waiting for? Hold on. Crows attacking on command? Something's not right. More synthetics. Must be on a separate control system from Stockman's. Okay, if he has that, why doesn't he have more stuff on that control system, I wonder? Thanks for bearing with me, folks. Sorry about that. Doesn't matter. Just more cowardly gadgets. EMP should take them out. I'm sick of your childish games and little boy toys, Hiroto. Come face me like a man. Gah. So now there's this big bird-like creature coming at him, or it's got like big bat wings, I should say, and he looks like something out of Court of the Owls or something. Reek! Old school robotics, like a tank with wings. So it's really funny. I guess Hiroto just has a thing for winged creatures. He's got crows, and maybe some of the crows we saw in earlier issues were also his robotic crows. And then he has this big golem thing with the big bat wings. It feels kind of like a video game, right? Where it's like you get to the last level and you've got to have some new, harder bad guys to fight. So we just, in this narrative, need some kind of an excuse for why they're different. And so he just has a separate control thing, and I guess he got to pick what those things looked like. And maybe Stockman built them for him. He's just got this motif of bat-winged things, or like bat-winged things and crows. So I guess, I don't know, he just likes kind of a macabre Halloween aesthetic, I guess. Another hit. I'm dead. Need something big to put it out of my misery. Again, I like how we're bookending this with the first issue, where we're right back to what I kind of expected this entire book to read like. Climbing the tower, our hero, like, barely being able to survive what's being thrown at him and being the underdog. All of that. Enough! Where are you hiding, coward? Coward? Hardly. I'm not the one who's skulked who knows where in utter fear for 10 years, after all. I've said before that this was kind of ambiguous about how much time has passed. I'm wrong about that also. So it's been it's been 10 years since he ran off. It's been 16 years since the truce was broken. And I mentioned 16 years the other day. I thought that that was a different timestamp, but it's not. That's collectively how much time has passed since the other shoe dropped with the Foot Clan in the first place. So you could argue that it's kind of weird that things are so futuristic after just 16 years, like we're already to flying cars and things, but it's maybe weird if you're extrapolating from now. I think we're extrapolating from, again, like late 80s, early 90s. And if we'd done that then, if we'd done this back then, we might have said, like, oh, we'll have flying cars in the next 16 years. So, once again, 80s retrofuturism, I'm with it. I like that. Okay. So I'm sorry. It's not that 10 years and then 16 years. It's that Hiroko just got it wrong. Hiroto, pardon me, just got it wrong. It's not 10 years. It's 16 in total. That's where that is. Anyway, 16 years. It's been 16 years since you killed my family. Has it? It's as they say, time flies when you're having fun. Whatever. All I know is this has been a long time coming, and all you need to know is I'm the one who's gonna finish it. The last of the Roku bloodline ends tonight. You and your mother, says the worthless Ronin who couldn't save his own master. So, this is supposed to be the big difference between them, and their worldview and what they care about. So once again, he sees himself as a god. Everything is entirely about him. He does not care at all about his mother. The mutant monstrosity playing at family honor. All for a pretend family with no true bloodline to speak of. This is the thing that makes me think that this couldn't be an IDW even if you wanted to fit it in there. Unless they are still reincarnated and Splinter does go back to feudal Japan and his kids. And Hiroto just doesn't know that. But this really reads like that's not what it is when he says no true bloodline to speak of. You're wrong. Our bloodline is the shared mutagen that runs through our veins. Like, I don't know why he'd say that if he was at one time human or his spirit is reincarnated from a human person from centuries ago. And now your family will die. Is that so? Again, big difference. To him, it's interesting that he's so obsessed with bloodline, but yet doesn't have any sense of family, doesn't care about his family. In truth, I always hated her. She left me as a child and never returned. Again, bad parenting. I only kept her alive out of spite. Lost and alone in her coffin while I conquered. And then you gotta wonder what he'd be like if she actually raised him. While I thrived. He's got kind of a Tron suit right now. At least she had honor. You ready? Again, did she? Like, I'd like to know more about all of that. You ready? Ready. Well, I certainly didn't get all dressed up for no reason. Let us begin the end. So, on first read, I really expected something like this because it would be kind of lame if you get to the end and you don't have some kind of Shredder iconography. So this guy's got to have his own kind of futuristic Shredder suit, and we'll see how you guys feel about what that ends up looking like. So here he is in all of his T1000 glory. Hi! Really nice. A full-page spread, though. Once again, pin-up worthy, could go on a wall. And speaking of T1000, even this setting kind of reminds me of the plant at the end of Terminator 2. But yeah, so a real bare-bones kind of Shredder suit. He's got the claws everywhere. He's got the points all over the place, but there's really nothing going on in the middle because it's kind of a shape-shifting suit. We're about to find out. His armor, like liquid metal he can manipulate. Like, immediately I'm looking at this going, wow, that looks like T-1000, and then right away, liquid metal. Oh, it just is, okay. Some kind of nano carbide. I guess Michelangelo has, without Donatello around, has learned a lot more about science stuff. He can make it solid in order to strike with his fists and blades. Need to steer clear of those. Fires are getting bigger. Hard to breathe in all the toxic smoke. Time for you to die, Hellspawn. Oh, that's a different book. This is Ninja Turtles? That's a different book. Hiroto's anger is growing too. Better use that to my advantage. Stoke the flames. Yeah, because that was the thing that really did Splinter in when he died. You first, mama's boy. Rawr. Oh, shaka boom. That's some good onomatopoeia there. Good sound effects word. What is this, like the 300th explosion now we've had in this book? So they get blown back? Hey, Rock Bottom's reporting an explosion in Hiroto's tower. What? Seriously? A lot of good that does us. If we all drown down here, we gotta get to the main pumps downtown. Fast. Damn it, Sensei. Why didn't you wait for me? Because this is something he has to do alone. Wasn't expecting that. Hiroto's magic armor either. Now, I can also see somebody complaining that we don't get a true team up between them. I mean, we kind of do last issue when they go up against Stockman, but they just kind of fight a bunch of robots. Like, I'll go as far as to say I like Casey Marie enough that I might have liked to have seen her fighting with Michelangelo in this final scene, and they kind of become the new Ninja Turtles together, even if he doesn't make it. But it also wouldn't quite fit with the title either if he's got, you know, a full-on sidekick that actually helps him achieve his goals at the end directly. Like, she does indirectly, but in going up against him. So I could see both sides to that if that's a thing that anybody doesn't appreciate. It just doesn't feel like great payoff when you have them training, but then they also don't have more than that one session. I mean, he basically just gets her started. He doesn't really get to be her sensei for any amount of time. Wasn't expecting that. Hiroto's magic armor either. Incline should slow our fall. Again, not sure if I'm buying just how futuristic some of this stuff is. In 16 years, basically it was like 1989, and then in 16 years you've already got like all this nanotechnology and stuff. Still a long way down though. Been there, done that. Not that Hiroto cares. I like how, again, moodiness and stylized all of this is. Idiots fighting me the whole way. Got him to take the full force of that. They smash into a skylight, and still barely a scratch on him. Barely. What would there be to scratch? Right? It's liquid metal. Like, if you say barely, now I'm looking for scratches. Like, how could there be any? I really need to find a weak spot in his armor. And then they crash again. Oh, man, the whole tower's going up. I need to go help Sensei. It's too late for that, Casey. We gotta get to Mrs. Jones and help her find a way to stop the flooding, or we won't have anyone left to help us. Comms are coming back online, and my mom, still no word. Okay, just keep trying. This is gonna hurt a lot. So I really like the choreography of this fight. We're just crashing constantly into ceiling after ceiling after ceiling. And I also like this in building on what we had in the first issue, where we know he's able to take these kinds of falls now. Crash, whoosh, nothing broken. I think at least nothing important. That water tower was a gift. For both of us, unfortunately. I don't know if that means nothing important. He's like, well, he broke a pinky. I guess Michelangelo wouldn't have a pinky. He's got four. Maybe he's got a pinky and he doesn't have a forefinger. I don't know actually what you would call each of the turtles' fingers if you only have four. Or three, if you only have three. Yeah, what would he have? So it'd be like a forefinger and a thumb, and then you can't call this the middle finger because it's on the outside now. So like, is that your pinky? But it's longer than the others, if they're actually that size, or are they the same size? I forget. We should just do a video It's like Ninja Turtle hand analysis for like 10 minutes. For both of us, unfortunately. Come on, Hiroto. Show me a flaw. There. What's this? A scratch? And I only recently had this polished. No, that's a hole, because you're T1000. This is all kind of derivative. And I wonder if some of that is intentional, just because it's like, well, if we're going to rip off something directly, let's go back to the period where Turtles was really popular and just kind of stick around in the early 90s. No matter. Or maybe not. Now, where were we? The armor is self-repairing. Again, back in Michelangelo's internal monologue, gonna have to find a workaround. You were about to do something stupid. Really? We shall see! Damn. Oh, spang! That's a good sound effects word. Damn, that was too close. Talk about stupid, Mike. So definitely the most times collectively in these 5 videos that I've said the word damn on Geekvolution. My apologies. We're still not able to get any of the subsystem pumps online, and still no word from my mom. I know. Okay, there's no other option. I gotta get to the old main pumps and see if I can open them somehow, and then find my mom. The water's rising too fast. No way you can make it there in time. I can if I go underwater. You know, like a Ninja Turtle. She's just gotta steer clear of those, of all that electricity that you find in the sewer when you're underwater in a NES game. You guys keep things moving here. Get as many people out as you can. Roger that. Take this. It's waterproof. Let us know when you get there safely. You heard her, people. Let's get moving. It's still just weird to me to see April running a whole army. I'm sorry, Sensei, but I can't leave Mom hanging. I can't let these people die. You're on your own, just like you wanted. He's keeping the pressure on. Relentless. And again, I feel like we could have kind of a whole debate about why it's so important to Michelangelo that he does this himself, besides just the kind of dramatic trope of this is something I have to do myself. Like, I think this book is doing a good job of making it more than that, and I think that it has everything to do with guilt. Relentless. He knows I'm hurt. Need to keep my distance. And honestly, if I'm him, I would feel pretty stupid about not being able to beat this guy before. I think the story does an okay job of making Hiroto, if not worthy of taking out the Ninja Turtles, because I'm sure that's probably a beef that I haven't talked to a lot of people about this book yet, but I'm sure some fans have a beef with that, where it's like Hiroto is not worthy, he's not the Shredder, he's not the guy that you want to see take all the turtles out, but in certain ways they kind of beat themselves, especially Splinter, just because of, you know, how angry they are that there was a chance to have this truce, and then they were kind of caught with their pants down, where they're being kind of punished for having a hope, I suppose. And in that way, I kind of buy him being able to take them out. We need to keep my distance. Choose the right time to strike. Can't keep this up forever. That fall did more damage than I thought. I'm practically moving at half speed, and he knows it. He's taking full advantage. This is all great dynamic action. Time to change things up. Come then, mutant. Where's your bravado now? Your precious honor? Overused word, I think. Need to make a weak spot. So he was trying to find one before, now he's going to make a weak spot. This should stick just long enough. Okay, so what is he doing exactly here? Is it a bomb? He sticks something to him that's got like looks like a little module. It's got a button on it. And I wondered if that was maybe a callback to, again, Turtles #1 with the bomb in the Shredder fight on the roof. Which, by the way, that part of it is never adapted in other media. This should stick just long enough to give me a shot. A gift from Raphael. So, finally paying off his having a sigh between his fingers. Stabs him. Is that your very best, mutant? Poking, prodding, scratching. Me, it wasn't a scratch. It was a hole. Give me 1 second. No, my tower, impossible. So yeah, now he's just blown up the top of the tower. More like perfect timing. First rule of martial arts, never take your eyes off your opponent. And once again, calling back to Ninja Turtles #1. He's being thrown off a roof. And then we cut back to Casey Marie. Lungs on fire. Need to find an air pocket. Fast. Strong as I am, I ain't a mutant fish. Wait, is that Mom? But you'd have to wonder if maybe she's got enhanced lung capacity. That's not talked about. You're on hallowed ground, hallowed ground now, chump. So once again, we're back to that corner of Bleacher and Sullivan. That is, I think, supposed to be where the second chance, the second time around store was. Which is treated now sort of like, I just thought of this, like where Batman's parents were murdered, right? Like this is the site of all of Michelangelo's tragedy. It's like where all of it starts anyway, because different of his family die in different places, but it's basically like his version of Crime Alley now. And your fancy armor's busted. Ugh. This one's courtesy of Leonardo. I also like how this is set up earlier, where he lays out all of the Turtles' weapons, and now he's using each of them one by one. So, again, this is a big thing that separates him from Hiroto. He's by himself, but the other Turtles are there too. He's a amalgamation of all of them, and now all of their weapons are coming out to continue to enhance that idea. Fine, I yield. You win. I think the idea here is supposed to be that the big difference between the Turtles and Splinter and the Foot Clan is that and especially Hiroto is supposed to be that they have optimism. They believe in the possibility that people can change, and giving people the benefit of the doubt. Splinter is, like I said yesterday, not really Zordon. Like, he doesn't just react to things, and he does have a vengeance code, but he also believes in people and will give people the benefit of the doubt, and sometimes, so that's played as their greatest strength and also sometimes their greatest weakness. You still don't get it, do you, Hiroto? There's no win or lose today, only an end. You're right. This is an ending mutant. Yeah, but like, even if he wins, it's still tragedy. It's still not what you wanted. You wanted peace, and you never got that. Stupid, cocky fool. Yours, oldest trick in the book, and I fell for it. Need to regroup. Need some space. And now the bow staff comes out. Donatello sends his regards. So now we've done it with the other three, and the only thing we haven't seen yet is nunchucks, and here they come. Need to stop the bleeding. Need to catch my breath. Air. Thank you, Mom. Now what? I shouldn't be the only one bleeding out. The cuts from Raph's sai, Leo's sword, his armors sealed them somehow. So, cravenly running away to hide in the sewers. Why am I not surprised? Oh, and I forgot that this all converges. So, I said subplots, like, you've got Casey Marie in the sewer, but then their fight also culminates in the sewer. Yeah? Who's running? Who's hiding? That's a great shot there, where he hits him in the head with his nunchucks, finally bringing those out. Those don't seem like the most useful of weapons at the moment, but thematically I appreciate it. Finally, he's being Michelangelo. Like, he wanted to do this alone, but again, he's not really doing it alone, and his brothers have symbolically done their attacks, and now he's doing his. Rocks falling everywhere. Gotta protect Mom. Buy her more time. So April is shutting things down, getting the water subside. His armor failing him. Gotta finish this before my body fails me. No! And then Casey's coughing. It's okay, Casey. Just breathe. I'm here. I've got you. And not that I don't appreciate the assist, but what the heck were you thinking, kiddo? I knew I had to do something when we didn't hear from you. I'm so happy I found you, Mom. If I'd lost you, if you didn't get the pumps working. And this is where the Casey Jones and her father really it comes to be an asset. Hey, that's what I do, right? Fix up old broken things. Speaking of, he has no clue, but I injected a tracker into Mikey when I drew his blood. Of course you did. I meant to tell you before, but you kind of took off on me. Kind of reads like it didn't occur to us that they need some way to find him, so now we'll just say that she did that. Unless there's a panel that gave it to us and she doesn't know about, but I'm not sure, I don't remember that. It's transmitting on the standard resistance frequency, but my radio is in the battle wagon, so... Oh, now we're calling it the battle wagon. I've got a radio, I'll find him. I don't know why those are the bolded words. And I'll be right behind you. Just be careful. So Hiroto and Michelangelo both come out of the sewer. Head spinning. Guts leaking. Oh, that's unfortunate. Can barely stand. You will not survive this, mutant. I cannot be defeated. He's right. This whole thing's been a one-way ticket. And this is really the scene you want at the end of this. Just real gritty, and both of them barely standing. Who's going to make it at the end? Again, kind of classic samurai movie stuff. But I'm not taking that trip alone. You're wrong, Hiroto. I'm going to bury you here. This mud hole will be your grave. Also, still, Super Dark Knight Returns. Broken and alone outside the city you tried to destroy. Forgotten forever. No, you're wrong. I am God. I'm immortal. And I think he's deluded enough that he's really made himself believe that. Gah, Raphael yells, and then Hiroto is laughing hysterically, and then there's a boom, and then the letters of boom are broken apart by the explosion itself. A mostly wordless page. We just get some god. And then Michelangelo looks like he is probably not going to make it. On first read, I was really kind of expecting the Ninja Turtles 2 thing, where Shredder's hand starts to come up and then drops, but we don't get that panel. I'm here, Sensei. It's me. Casey. No, you're not leaving me. You can't. I brought the journal. See? You were going to teach me. You promised. It's not fair. I'm sorry, Casey. It was my duty. My destiny for my family. I also like the idea that after, presumably a bazillion Ninja Turtle stories, and this so far in the future, finally we get to what Splinter wanted in the very first issue of Ninja Turtles. There it was really just about, to be fair, Shredder himself, just Oroku Saki, and then later we turn it into more of a family feud thing. But it also occurs to me, I should have mentioned this earlier, and I'm right in the middle of this really sad death sequence, but let me say this real quick. How long has the feud been going? You get the sense that according to this, you get the sense that it might even predate Splinter and Shredder. Like, I thought it all just started with them and was really just about those two guys. And yeah, maybe you could have an endless conflict afterwards where that's the origin of it, and then they're feuding, like Southerners in the 1800s or something. But does it go back further than that in this? It sure kind of looks like, especially with there being a whole Hamato clan in Japan. It's weird. It's muddled. I don't know. Uh, but I'm your family now. Yes, you, your mom, always. My father's journal left it for you. And he coughs. It will teach you all he knew. But last lesson is most important of all. So I'm going to assume, I said a few videos ago, I didn't know who wrote No Peace. Pretty clearly supposed to be Hiroto, I think. So he kills Splinter and then writes that in his book, No Peace. And now we have a play on with that, where it's No Peace, K-N-O-W. And convenient that No Peace was written on a page, and then there was still a page on the opposite side to write this. Maybe the idea is supposed to be that that's what he was writing in the book before. That's a little weird and convoluted, because I don't know why it would occur to him to do that then. Well, no, I guess that makes sense if he's thinking, like, I don't think I'm going to make it alive. Again, I don't think it's quite the same kind of kamikaze mission it was before. Maybe he's kind of hoping this time that he could make it, but deep down he knows he won't. He says that here. So he writes No Peace, but it looked like he wrote in the middle of the book. So some of the issue is just the way it's drawn. I don't know. It's not really that important. Casey. Oh my God, Casey, are you okay? Oh, Mikey. Goodbye, my sweet friend. I don't know. I think we could have come up with maybe a slightly better line for April, but that's all right. It's not touching, but this shot of Casey over Michelangelo, I mean, like, that whole thing could be a variant cover if you didn't mind spoiling the whole issue. That's a real, Superman 75 kind of panel with Lois Lane cradling Superman. So then, like we had earlier in the series, you have the line going across and it flatlines, the vital line. And I don't know how I feel about this whole thing. I'll read it. There's a little bit of potty humor in it that I hate reading out loud, but it's whatever. It's not the worst thing ever, but so you know, I don't usually like reading stuff like this. Mikey, wake up already. Jeez. You gonna sleep all day or what? Longest nap ever, bro. Hurry up. It finally stopped raining. What? Huh? James Curry, I kind of wish he got to say goodbye to April too. Yeah, fair enough. But they make the whole thing a lot, at that point, a lot more about him and Casey Marie, and so at least they have their moment. It might have felt like a double beat to also do it with April, and maybe that's why that's not there. And also maybe it's supposed to just seem, sadder and more tragic. Is she there for any of their deaths? Because I just don't remember if she's actually standing there when any of them die. Yeah, we're heading topside for some fresh air and training. Come on, we're already behind schedule. Yeah, sleepyhead, get your lazy butt moving. Last one out gets to do dishes for a week. Wait, looks like we have our winner. And we see Michelangelo back in his regular earlier form, which we've not seen anywhere in this whole book. Even in flashbacks, he seemed a lot more grizzled than he ever had been. Ha, don't you mean loser, Leo? Hey, no fair. I wasn't ready. You guys totally cheated. Loser says, what? I'll show you I'm not a loser. Only a loser would say that. He's right, look it up. I like the change in art style for this section too, and this looks a lot like the early IDW issues. I'm not sure which of the artists drew exactly the section. I'd have to go back and check. He's right, look it up. You're all losers. You would know, Dawn. Phew. So much fresh air. Smells like Mike cut the cheese. Did not. Yo, gotta side with Mikey on this one, Raph. You know what they say. Whoever smelt it dealt it. So you got Casey there too. And I guess this is Ninja Turtle heaven. They're all together. Well, I cannot speak to Raphael's flatulence, father, but New York City indeed has its own unique odor. Yeah, it does. Smells like home. It's a little sappy. I don't know how much I needed that scene, or I don't know. I'm conflicted about it, because I guess you do kind of want to see them all together in their classic element again in some way. I guess I don't really mind Ninja Turtle Heaven, but I don't know, the way that page reads, it's a little sappy. Epilogue. James Curry also, is this meant to be the afterlife or is it meant to be the past? Well, that's a terrific question. Probably ambiguous. I guess it could be either. I'm making the assumption that it's just because of the transition into it, that it must be Turtle Heaven, but maybe not. It's just that if it is a flashback, it's kind of easy that it's specifically the characters who have died that are all together. Like Splinter's there, Casey's there. But I guess it could read as either. I hadn't thought of that. In some ways, almost like a better if it is flashback, but then it's kind of just for the reader. Epilogue. So I almost didn't keep reading when I did this the first time. It was like, oh, it's over. Oh, wait, there's an epilogue. Okay. And I'm also not totally sure how I feel about this epilogue either. I think I like it more if we never follow it up and don't do more with this stuff. Because I said before that I think you could maybe do a sequel to this, but then I had kind of forgotten about what the epilogue was. I'm not 100% sure that I really want that. But anyway, so she is attacking a punching bag and says, "Not too shabby, Casey," and then goes to Splinter's book. "I wish you were here still to see how far I've come. But I'll keep training, I'll keep learning, and I'll keep getting better, Sensei. I won't let you down." And then she's wearing the shirt that April has through the 2012 series with the 5 on it, suggesting that she is the true 5th Ninja Turtle because she's sort of a mutant and has powers. How's the test looking? Slight improvement, actually. Lots more to get done, though. What's new, she says. "So, what are we eating today? Get what you want, kiddo. I'm not hungry. Wasn't talking to you. Hey there." And then the big reveal. So it looks like they've got mutagen there. I'm assuming that's why that's why you've got this kind of green vial there or whatever. Not vial, but I don't know, container. And then she says, "Hurry up and grow already. I've got so much cool stuff to teach you." So at first glance, it's kind of a fun reveal that, okay, once again, the cycle will continue, but maybe now we can do it without the Foot Clan. So she's going to be the new Splinter. She's going to raise some Ninja Turtles. We have to assume that they're intentionally trying to recreate the Turtles because they have what looked like mutagen, and this is connected to this big, elaborate incubation unit or whatever it is. You wouldn't need all of that if you were just having baby turtles, of course. So I guess she's going to be the new Splinter. I don't know what role that makes April, except for maybe just still April, if you did that. But I said earlier that I think the whole idea of Casey Marie being a mutant, getting powers through radiation, is in setting up this epilogue. It's like she has to literally be part mutant in order to be the new Splinter if she's gonna raise the new Ninja Turtles. Is kind of how that looks. I also wonder what those turtles would be like, and that's one of the things that makes me kind of timid about wanting to see that, because then it would just sort of be like Turtles Beyond, and that could be a fun idea, I guess. But it would just be the Ninja Turtles, or like new Ninja Turtles in the future. What would they be exactly? Like each of them, I would assume, would be kind of a stand-in for the originals, but like slightly differently characterized. And then I wonder, would we do the thing where we just gender flip and make them all girls because they have a female Splinter now, and Splinter was a guy and he's raising boys? So would this be like the female version of Ninja Turtles overall? Would that be what we're doing? So I don't know. I would be open-minded to whatever they decided to do if there was a sequel to this, but there's a part of me that kind of just wants to leave it here, where, like, that's kind of a fun reveal at the end. I can totally see why this character would want to do this, but I don't know if I ever want to see what actually happens with it. I really liked this on first read, and overall, it's still... There's still some great stuff in it. It's still a good read. It ain't perfect. I mean, nothing is, but I don't reading it all together here, I think I'm liking it less than I did on first viewing, to be perfectly honest with you. Like I said, I think it doesn't end quite as well as it begins. I think Casey being a mutant is a total misstep, and I do think some things could have been done to make Hiroto more interesting and three-dimensional, and I think he could still have had the petulant child thing even if he didn't entirely start there. I think you could have had your cake and eaten it too, and let Hiroto start in a place where he wants to be better than Shredder and Karai, but gets taken with the power too much. I think, and I never want to rewrite stories, but I can't help but feel like it would maybe be a better story, and would maybe still achieve all the things it's trying to achieve if his truce was genuine in the first place. Those are my big issues with it. I'll certainly go back to it. I'll certainly read it again. It's pretty worthy of Miller, I think. It's a pretty good Turtles follow-up to a Dark Knight Returns or a Ronin, and I think it does a really good job of blending those two things together, and it just feels like a real genuine Ninja Turtles thing. My favorite thing about it is just that it is very Ninja Turtles. It does feel like a genuine future for that world, and I'm also really impressed with, as I've said a million times, how ambiguous it's able to be about continuity, and whatever Turtles thing you love, this is pretty readable, and might contradict certain things, but by and large can kind of fit in most different Turtles continuities. James Curry, yeah, I don't like that. I feel it would just be better to say that the cycle will continue, but we don't need to say what they do. Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. Well, anyway, if you made it all the way through this 5-hour bonanza, a 5+ hour bonanza, going through Last Ronin, thanks so much for doing it with me. It was a really fun experiment. I'm going to keep doing this page-by-page thing, I think, with some different things. I don't know if I'll do it again with an entire miniseries or a series of books. I'll probably mostly go to random single issues of things that this would be fun to do with, but I wanted to see what it would be like to do a total deep dive and go nook and cranny through an entire series like this, and it was fun to do. It definitely changed how I look at the book, which I guess made it worthwhile, or maybe it's kind of sad because I don't think I like it as well reading it out loud. But I still overall really did enjoy it, and am glad that it happened, and get why, and I get why it got a lot of press and why it was such a big deal for folks. So anyway, everybody, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you had a good time, and I'll see you again with more comic reviews and movie reviews, and especially requests, because August is request month here on Geekvolution. We'll see you soon, folks. Bye, everybody.